Thank you very much for coming out on this fine summer evening. Could I ask you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Again, thanks for coming out. We do have a busy agenda again this evening, so going to try to move through things fairly quickly, but certainly we'll have a lot of time for public comment and encourage that. With that, is there a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? So moved. Thank you, Joel. Is there a second? Thank you very much, Sam. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have an agenda. Let's get right into the reports. And first and foremost, there was an executive session this evening at 6 p.m. with the council, mayor, and our solicitor and manager to discuss real estate matters. With that, Kyle, your report, anything you want to share, please?
Sure. I have three comments. First is I recommend that we table the discussions, the acceptance, and the adoption items for the State Street Revitalization Project to July. One, that allows the county some time to review it before we accept. And two, that allows us time to take public feedback before we adopt anything onto the capital improvement plan.
Just hold on one second, John. Hold on one second, John.
Number two is thank you to Joe from our staff who actually did all of the coordinating for that process, which has been months long, many people involved. He did a great job with that. And then lastly, just a thank you to a group led by Sunny. It included our mayor, council president Norris, and our chief. They've made a lot of great improvements to our building over the last 6 months here. And I think that has a lot to do with the letter of intent that we'll be voting on later tonight. So just a thank you for that.
Thank you very much. And maybe I'm answering your question in advance, maybe I'm not. But the reason we're pushing the State Street is probably for two things. One is the formality is the county has to review it and make sure they're okay with the proceedings. The second thing is because we've put or will put up tomorrow on the website a form that specifically asks for public input on all 5 of those options. They are not a done deal by any stretch. There's no budget to do them anyways. There are 5 concepts that the working group put out there to get opinions on whether they're good and which parts of them are good or not. So it's a long way from happening. They're just concepts at this point.
They're 10% done. So we're not even 50% done. We're at the initial stage of it conceptually.
Thank you. Solicitor Andy, I've got a couple of questions for you, if I may, and then add in anything. On Monday evening, there was a discussion brought up from folks in the audience about the former Borough building on Marshall Street, the parking spaces specifically on Marshall Street. Were those transferred with the property? If so, why? Do they continue to travel with the property? Was it done transparently? Give us the facts of how, when, what that you have, please.
I can give you what we have at this point. Based upon initial review of the documents, and we still need to review the deed, and otherwise, it does appear that the parking spaces were transferred with the property, but that's a preliminary. We have to review the deed in order to be able to confirm that to make sure. Transparency-wise, it was all done in the public vote, in reviewing the meeting minutes, et cetera. So I don't think there's any issues there. So preliminarily, that's kind of where we're at this point with the parking spaces.
Can we please get a legal answer, interpretation to that, and a copy of the deed?
Yes, that's what we're waiting to get.
Anyone who wants it can get a copy of it, please. And second, is the parking lot between Liberty Market and the Pie Shop on West State Street. Who owns that? What's the agreement? What are the terms, the lengths, the responsibilities? We're talking about the parking lot that sits in between, forgive me, the Pie Shop and Liberty Market.
Yes, so that's 144, 146 State Street. The borough owns it. It is leased for a 10-year lease with the LGB properties and the borough. It is a 10-year lease that renews annually every year. So for example, in 2025, when the term renewed, it renewed for a new 10-year period. So each year it renews from that. The borough does still own it. And I think I got all your questions on that, didn't I?
The borough owns it all?
In the background of the lease agreement, it says that the borough is the legal owner of 144, 146 State Street. The lots are used as parking lots and have a total of 30 surface parking spaces on them. So I haven't seen the lot in a long time, but I think that encompasses both.
I believe that there's some question is in terms of whether the row that sits adjacent to Liberty Market is owned by the property Liberty Market. So could you please get
Yes.
a survey or a plot plan to determine exactly who owns that and share that with us before next meeting?
Yes, and the lease agreement does indicate the UPI numbers for,
Perfect.
so we should be able to obtain that information very easily.
Thank you. Two other brief ones, I think. There was an accessory dwelling unit challenge on North Broad Street, gosh, a year ago. I know it was challenged in court. Where is it? What's the next step with that?
There's actually scheduled for argument in front of Judge Binder on this coming Friday. And the boroughs signed on to that lawsuit, as you know, and we will see where it goes.
Okay. If for folks that aren't aware of it or don't live right in that area, a homeowner on North Broad Street requested through the zoning hearing board process an accessory dwelling unit, a detached house, basically small house. It was denied by the zoning hearing board. They had a legal right to challenge it in court. They did. That's what we're waiting the decision on. And my last legal question as a follow-up is 2 months ago on Young Avenue, there was an issue of water runoff from a retention basin, a stormwater retention basin that's not being maintained, that's affecting some of the neighbors. Where are we with that process? Kyle, is that a you question or an Andy question?
Yeah, the next step will be to put fines on for lack of compliance with codes.
Okay. John, I'm going to, just out of respect for everyone else, I'm going to ask that question to come up in the public comment section. Next up is the police department update, Chief.
Good evening. So I did submit an operation report for the activities that took place in May. A couple things I'd like to highlight out of that. Traffic safety and enforcement in May resulted in a total of 253 traffic stops, 109 traffic citations, and 180 written warnings. We are continuing to prioritize the traffic complaints and the public safety issues that are brought forward to us. That's the top of our list for our patrol activities. May brought back some significant special events, highlighting them. May 3rd was our Can It Run, another wonderful event, really, showcases the town. Cinco de Mayo came back to another year. Unfortunately, the weather just doesn't want to cooperate. We keep getting rained on, but they made the most out of it. May 15th was our Third Thursday events. Again, very wonderful event for town. And May 26th was our Memorial Day parade. Again, we had an incredible turnout, wonderful day. Weather couldn't have been better. Wonderful day to celebrate things in Kennett Square. I attended the Cinco de Mayo event, and I wanted to thank Casa Guanajuato. They presented me with an award for timeless community service and dedication to the community, and also from the Mexican Consulate of Philadelphia for service to the Kennett community. It was very honored to receive that. We are still moving forward with our PEO advertisement for the part-time position. We've conducted some interviews. We have a few more to take care of, and then we're going to hopefully be narrowing it down to a candidate to offer a position to. Again, this is just the part-time position. And the last thing to add is we had some wonderful grant activity in May. On May 6th, we received a $2,500 award from the Mushroom Half Cap Marathon organizers, which is going to go towards complementing and completing our purchase of updating our AEDs for the police department. We received a wonderful grant award from the Mushroom Festival on May 6th as well. That will hopefully continue to fund our policy management platform. And then later in May, we received information from a separate grant that I filed for from a company called TC Energy, that they have approved our grant application to essentially support our initiative of emergency medical equipment. And we are expecting to receive $5,000 from them. We will then combine that with the money that we received from the Mushroom Half Cap Marathon and be able to purchase all new AEDs for the police department. If there's any questions about the rest of the information in the statistical report, happy to respond to any of that.
Thank you, Chief, and thanks to you and your officers for what you do every single day.
Thank you.
Comment, questions? Let's hop into the financial report. Finance Committee, Joel?
Yes, thank you, Bob. The Finance Committee met on May 15th. Beyond the standard review that we did, we met with the police chief to discuss the need for a new full-time position and how that might fit into the 2025 budget and moving forward. And we've got an item on the agenda to move that forward. We also met with the Public Works Department to review their year-to-date standing and how things are looking for this year and needs for next year. And additionally, we reviewed and approved the meeting minutes as well as the bills for the past month.
Thank you very much. I intentionally skipped over Longwood. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Development? Kathleen?
We have a few things on the agenda tonight with HARB and our, what's our plan that's coming up? Names.
Comprehensive.
Comprehensive plan. Thank you. So we'll be talking about that later.
Thank you. And community development, anything beyond Monday?
I pretty much said what I said on Monday, but yeah, that obviously we have more to do with that project, but yeah, we've made a lot of progress and feel very good about where we're at right now.
Thank you. Public safety?
I was absent from public safety this month, so I don't know if Kathleen has. I don't know if I haven't seen the minutes yet. They're not done yet, so
Nothing.
we'll combine them with July's unless you have any.
Fair enough. Kennett Fire and EMS Commission, I actually stepped in for the meeting that happened last in May. Two key takeaways from my perspective at that meeting. One is there certainly is very much an engagement from the Fire Commission members of the desire for Kennett Square to stay as part of that group, whether it's formally or at least informally, to be engaged and active and sharing an opinion, even if we don't have a vote in that. I think that's valued, and certainly some members came over to tell me that specifically. And then secondly, Abby, would you, Gabby, would you mind sharing what's going on? The administrative position is going to be filled. There was a very active discussion around the administrator, which was part of the original agreement. And I know the borough's been very desiring of that position. Allison Dobbins, who's the manager of Kennett Township, has actually been filling that position as an interim. And I think most people, certainly myself included, think she's been doing a wonderful job. But that position will be filled by the commission. Have I missed something, Gabby?
No, I think that's a good summary. I just wanted to say that it's 5 municipalities agreeing to a tentative job description. Hopefully they approve that so that we can post it for, public solicitation of applications. So I just thought that that was something that was noteworthy to the borough, because I know that that was one of your interests.
Very much. Thank you. Infrastructure met on May 20th. Key topics were the primary paving project for this year, which comes in the fall, will be Hazel Avenue. Rob, that's still on the books. So we'll be paving all of Hazel Avenue. That's probably the worst of many streets that need to be paved. But in terms of priorities, primary reason for that is to hold a lot of the funds that we have for Cypress, which anyone that drives on that know that's a horrible street that's constantly being refilled with patch and needs to be repaved. But that's $1 million project plus, not including crosswalk work or anything else we want to do with traffic calming. So we're trying to really save those funds to hopefully get into that next year. So Hazel will be the primary road paved this year. Rob and team are also looking into a traffic calming mechanism to try it in town, to narrow traffic, to slow it down at one spot in town, probably at the intersection of Center and Cypress Street, not finalized, but that's sort of the intersection that the infrastructure came up with. Again, the intent is to make it more narrow and to slow things down a little bit and to see if those mechanisms like those little plastic signs in the middle of the road that are trying to slow traffic down, first by Mary D on South Union Street. And now there's two you may have seen. Someone actually hit one on Cypress. There's two on Cypress, one on East, one on West Cypress, and there's two on State Street as well. Again, the intent is to slow traffic down and to allow pedestrians to cross more safely. Parking lots was a key topic of our discussion. The borough owns and maintains two, well, the parking garage, obviously, and two primary parking lots that the borough maintains. There's a lot of electrical work in the garage that needs to be done. And we've said to Rob, please make sure the budget's there, even if it's an emergency spend, to make sure that any safety issues get covered in the garage. Looking at a business in June, the next meeting is June 17th, 6 p.m., second floor of this building. Everyone that's a resident's welcome to come. We'll start to take a look at our capital plan, 5-year capital plan for next year and the next 4 years after that. We're also hoping to have a discussion on those who are sight impaired. You know, what are the things we should be doing that Ellie brought up of helping people cross roads that have a vision problem? And also, what do we need from a capital standpoint in terms of sidewalks, curbs, and crosswalks as it applies to the infrastructure, the spending? And if there's someone from the safety committee, Kathleen, Matt, Chief, that is available, please come to that meeting. It certainly impacts safety. We want to make sure we're going after the right areas that need that improvement. That's the infrastructure, staff, support, and development. Sam, anything to share?
Nope, not for this month, but we will be meeting again on June 18th, which is the third Wednesday, which is what we're trying to stick to with staff development.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, from your office?
Just quickly, during this past month, I met with several nonprofit organizations that are struggling due to cuts in funding from the federal government as a way to help facilitate them with other funding sources. So it was more about putting a resource together. Representative Sappi attended as to help find if there's any replacement state grants that might be able to support folks that are losing federal funding. I did host last week for the Domestic Violence Center of Chester County. They're the folks that do a lot of the, I'm sorry, I said domestic violence, Crime Victim Center. Crime Victim Center asked, again, they're losing some federal funding and their other funding has been flat. So they're in a real challenge that they can't fill roles at the moment. So I hosted a meeting for them, which included all of the state reps for Chester County, the state senators for Chester County, as well as the county commissioners all attended. They were able to put on or their requests for financing, what they need, and looking for replacing the federal funds. Of course, the county is also challenged by the reduction of federal funding. So the goal is to help just facilitate those conversations. So those folks who are struggling to find different ways, if we can help just facilitate by making connections and things, I'm working on that. And then lastly, on July 1st, Councilman Joel Sprick and I are going to be kicking off a focus group for residents to participate in for the cleanup of NVF. Councilman Sprick is an environmental scientist, former environmental scientist, but has a lot of knowledge in the process. Our entire goal for that is for folks that want to take a very deep dive, to look at documents provided by EPA, to understand what has been done detail by detail and what has to be done detail by detail in order to determine that those entities will call that site clean. We are not going to be talking about addressing future uses at all. It's just about the cleanup. What has happened, what has to happen, what's that process, what are our resources, only to talk about the day that comes when they say it is now clean and can be constructed on, that folks will know. And so we're going to be asking, based on what that group would like, we're going to be asking for documents from DEP. We're going to be asking the developer to provide documents up to date and really doing a deep dive. So it is open to any borough resident to participate. The first meeting is on July the 1st. On Tuesday evening, July the 1st. We're asking that if you're interested, that you go to the borough website and sign up so we know how many people to plan for, whether we're going to have 2 people or 25 people. We're also asking that if anybody can come to any meeting, it's certainly fine, it's open, but we are hoping to get, a dozen folks that'll be committed to a long-term process with that over the next 6 months. It's not a presentation from us. It's going to be a collaboration. This is what I don't know. Who's the expert? Who do we talk to? What's the process look like? So if you want to take a deep dive, and then we'll take that group and do a presentation to council and the public at the end when we do it. But this is for folks who feel compelled, that really want to know step by step by step what's happened, who authorizes it, how do we know it's clean? So that's a deep dive group. So anybody that wants to participate, please go to the borough website, sign up, and we'll see you on July 1st.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Here, it'll be here in Borough Hall, but if you go to the website, and depending on how many, if we have 2 people sign up, we'll meet downstairs. If we have 25 people, we'll meet up here.
My report briefly, a couple of things. A couple of folks have asked what's going on with the ADU ordinance revisions or potential revisions. We very candidly made an administrative error and didn't get it. We thought it was with the county for review. They did not have it. We have confirmed that they have it, and we will have that. We're shooting to have that if we get it back from the county at the July meeting. Apologies for that. It was just an administrative mistake. Secondly, I wanted to apologize to Richard. I'm not sure if he's here this evening yet. Richard came up at the very end of the meeting after I had asked if there was any other public comment, and I didn't see him and didn't raise his hand. And I asked for an adjournment when he was walking up. So if Richard's here, I apologize. And you're first up tonight if you want to. And then the third order is handling of action items. I had spoken to our solicitor's office, Mike, Andy's colleague, earlier today, and I said, I mess it up sometime, as many of you have seen. And I said, what's the right way to introduce and cover business during the meeting to be consistent? And he said, what we should be doing is, number one, introduce the topic, whatever the topic is, and whoever the right person to introduce it is. Number two, to have a preliminary council discussion of the topic. Number three, I should call, or the chairperson should call for a motion and a second. And if it's seconded, then to go into further council discussion, open it up to public discussion. Based on the public discussion, if there's any amendment to the motion, we can do that. And then if not, a vote on the issue. So I will do my darndest to try to live to that and keep that consistent. And if I don't, let me know, or one of my colleagues here, let me know. With that, let's get into the first item of business. That's item number 11A, the Historic Architecture Review Board's applications. The first one for 201 Birch Street. Mr. Froning.
Good evening. And you can always tell who knows Kennett Square when you're driving down Cypress Street, because they know where to swerve to avoid. 201 Birch Street, which is right here, right across the street. They're adding to the front of the building a 2-story front porch, if you will, to add to their seating and to clean up the front of that building. As you all know, that there's macadam, no sidewalk. It's and a very unremarkable frontage at the moment. We reviewed the plans in detail. We made some suggestions for sizing of certain pieces of the architecture. The intent was to mimic but not duplicate the facade of the Artello. So it's moving in that same vein, if you will, architecturally, so that it's maintained some consistency of view, but it will clean up that building rather nicely, I think. And there is some work on the side street and on Broad Street to add a secondary entry. And they will also install a new ADA accessible ramp.
Thank you, Andy. Council. Discussion. If there's no discussion, is there a motion to approve the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness as recommended by the HARB for 201 Birch Street?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
I'll second it.
Any other council discussion? Any public comment, discussion? Please. Andy, do you mind handing John the microphone?
Thank you. John Thomas, 406 South Broad Street. Yeah, I have a copy of the National Historical Register, which we don't seem to follow at all anymore. That building's on the National Historical Register. That means you got to call them before you make any motion to do anything. I mean, you guys, some council before put us on that thing and it's on there and you guys just go ahead and ignore it. You have to get approval. The same with the old borough building, same thing. I don't know why anybody's working up there, but it's on the National Historical Register. Inside, you can't do anything outside until you talk to them. You ought to be assisted deceased on that. Ought to be on Von Traeger's building on South Union Street. That's got to be on, all these buildings are on the National Historic Register. Now, you're on the National Historic Register. If you don't want to be, you have to get off of it. I don't know how you do it, but, you know, I was here when we did it. I didn't approve of this whole down this far, but it is. That building's on the National Historical Register.
Okay.
Now, you
Thank
can't
you.
build onto it without getting approval from the national something, whatever.
Thank you. Do you mind grabbing the mic, Andy? Solicitor Rongus or Andy, do you know the laws, or is there a responsibility to contact or get the approval of the National Register?
No.
You're positive of that?
The historic district is the defining territory of the ordinance at 25. The buildings in the district, there's only 2 or 3 buildings that are registered. Neither one is ones that John has referred to.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Please.
All right, the next one is.
Oh, Andy, I'm sorry, there was one other comment. Forgive me.
Good evening, Bill Grubb, 610 West Linden. This is one of the questions that I brought up Monday night, that this walking mall concept will fit the needs to have everything approved by the registry. So any additional monies being spent on that particular project should be stopped right now
you.
until that question is agreed to by the National Registry. So no more funding for that project, please.
Thanks for your comment. Andy? I mean, two answers. One is it's not on the National Historic Register, and number 2, it's a privately owned project that's being funded by the owner of that project. Is there any other public comment? There's a motion, a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It passes. The next is 309 Marshall Street. Andy?
Yeah. This is an addition of a pool house structure on essentially what is a double lot on Marshall Street. Normally, we consider fences, because this is a pool area that has to be fenced by law. We consider fences to be invisible because you never know if the fence is going to stay there or not stay there, or whether it's a solid fence or a wire fence. So we considered that to be a reason to review this particular application. So that essentially is a 20 by 20 pool house. The architecture, the design elements, and the features are all within the realm of what we find within the borough. There's nothing disruptive to the architectural integrity of the town.
Thank you. Council comment.
So is this fenced in?
Right now, it's approximately a 6-foot solid wood fence around the property that contains, it fully contains the pool area. And this pool house would be inside of
Inside of
that.
Is there a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness as recommended by the HARB for 309 Marshall Street, the pool house project?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ellie. Any other council comment? Public comment, please. Do you mind grabbing the mic, John? Do you mind,
I don't agree with Andy. It's on the National Historical Registered list. It's not in individual houses. I tried to get individual properties done that way. They said you couldn't do it that way when we did it. Because I thought there was some newer houses that didn't need to be on it, but that house is on there too. So I don't know why you people are voting on things until we know for sure. And just taking Andy's word doesn't mean anything to me.
thank
Sorry.
you. He's our local expert. Any other council discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Next item is number 12. Thank you, Andy. Next item is number 12A, the 2025 Bike Fest. A great event becoming larger and larger, helping more and more kids. Kathleen or Chief, any comment from the Safety Committee?
This is an event that's been going on in several areas. I think the last time it was down at the Creamery. It's moving up to our parking lot here at 600 South Broad because they need more space because they're giving away more bicycles. So we think it's a good use and we support it.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the special event permit for the Bike Fest?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any other council discussion? Public comment, please.
That I attended last year and it was just a spectacular event. People can bring bikes to donate. There are mechanics there who will get them into good running shape and redistribute them to kids that needed that size of bike. It was just a fabulous event.
I agree. It's a beautiful event for kids that probably would otherwise not get a bike. If you have a bike, not one that needs to be thrown out, but one that can be repaired, needs a little bit of help. Is Natalia here? Stephanie, where do people bring those? Or if you have a bike to help a kid out that would love to learn how to ride a bike around Kennett Square, consider it. Any public comment? We have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you for running that event. It's beautiful. The next one is the crazy one. This is the craziest one of the year. Catching Dreams Over the Edge. Kathleen?
So once again, Camp Dreamcatcher, which supports children affected by AIDS. They do a fundraiser every year to support their camp, which happens in August. And they always need volunteers and supplies as well, is having their Dreams Over the Edge fundraiser. So last year, a few of our staff and I think the mayor and
Chief and I did it together.
went over the wall and jumped down. So
Yeah, it was a
we can
little.
do it again this year.
The chief went over the wall. Do you want to change the terminology there? Or no? Okay.
It's happening September 26th and 20, well, the setup's the 26th, the 27th. And it's a great event, support.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the permit for the Camp Dreamcatchers Catching Dreams Over the Edge fundraiser, September 26, 27? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Kathleen. A second? Thank you, Sam. Any public comment? Any crazy people out there that want to do it? I see our new temporary executive director of CACS back there. Did you raise your hand, Carrie? No way. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thanks for doing it.
And if you don't want to jump over the wall, they do need supplies for their camp. They need sheets, they need sleeping bags, they need personal supplies for the kids that come, and it's all on their website. So check in there.
Thank you. Next is item 13A, consider the countywide police mutual aid agreement. Chief?
Certainly. So this is a plan that's actually been really in the works for a few years now. I want to say the ballpark of about 2 years. To give you a little history, so I've been on the executive board of the Chester County Chiefs of Police Association for about 7 years now. In 23 and 24, I was the president, and this is when the first discussions came up of bringing this forward. Really, what the mutual aid plan is, it's a very structured guideline of how to bring resources in the event of emergency, in the event of planned events, and a very structured, strategic method for how you're going to utilize those resources when we bring them in. So there's no cost involved in this. There's no formal commitment to this. This just provides the structure for all law enforcement in Chester County to truly work together. We all work together under mutual aid currently, covered by the law. This just provides a more structured process for how it will work. And I believe my good friend, the solicitor here, was one of the founding members of getting this document put together and reviewing it with multiple other municipalities. So what I'm asking for you to do is to approve this process via resolution tonight, and at the same time to authorize myself as the signer to complete this.
Thank you, Chief. Council comment, discussion? Chief, my understanding, reading the document, is that the home community officers that are used by another municipality, their salary is paid for by their home department, but any out-of-pocket costs for materials, supplies, what have you, are paid for by the requesting jurisdiction. Is
Yeah.
that right?
So let me give you an example of how we would do that. Maybe in an event where we were preparing for something large, Mushroom Festival, something along those lines. If we're calling in additional resources from our county partners and we're receiving reimbursement from say the Mushroom Festival in this example, we would expect compensation for the same partners, just as we expect compensation for our officers and our staff's time. The same thing would be passed along to the organizers of the events for that.
We can get out of the contract, but it is evergreen, and in the sense that it automatically renews on an annual basis unless we opt out, is what I understand.
Yes.
So we just need to make sure that we're watching that date in the event that for whatever reason, it sounds like it's basically what the fire companies do, right? Is cover each other if someone needs another truck or some folks to help them out. What other local agencies are involved? Is it everyone in the area?
That's the goal. Andy may be able to speak better on this. I believe we have a slight hiccup with a couple municipalities that perhaps wanted a change in wording. But so far, I believe we're up to 31 municipalities have so far signed this agreement or are prepping to sign it as we are.
That's correct. Excuse me. It really just gives the logistical side of how it's going to happen. It really has no legal impact upon the borough or law enforcement or how they operate or anything like that. Basically, it's using an emergency as an example. If there is a large police emergency where the chief needs to call in help from other agencies, then this will be the outline as to how that it's going to work, rather than just calling all cars, so to speak, and everybody rushes in. This allows them to do it. And what it kind of came out of is it came out of the incident where Brad Fox in Montgomery County was shot and killed in the line of duty. This program was set up in order to respond to that, to be able to allow and bring in other officers to be able to, for example, work the streets, respond to calls, while those officers were mourning, going to the funeral and things like that. It just puts it into place onto paper so that there is some logistical analysis as to who's coming and it can be managed.
And it's sort of from what I understand, it's an agreement, but it's if you have one or two officers that are on, like we do, typically we have two officers always on. You're actually not required to force to send someone. If you have more than two officers, that's when you kind of have to put at least an officer more into the group.
You don't even have to do that. It's just,
Okay.
if you're going to send people, this tells you how to do it. And for example, to notify the county radio room that you're coming, how much manpower you're bringing and all that kind of stuff. So that, for example, in an incident where you need 10 officers, you don't end up with 75 and then everybody has to get sent home.
Gotcha.
Chief, does it lay out what reporting responsibilities are when that officer is sent and, who they're reporting to?
Yeah. Yes, actually. So it really gives us a structure of support. So we're going to identify essentially probably 8 chiefs within Chester County in the different regions, the south, the north, east, the west, that will be these sort of support positions that will be able to come and assist us at these significant events. We'll then follow the ICS structure as far as reporting, documentation, post-instant review. So it's a very nice structured process is what it comes down to.
I mean, I was asking more about who's in charge of what is.
The host agency is always the incident. So if something happens here and we request this, I'm in charge of the entire incident.
So the
Nobody
officers are
takes over.
linked to you and then you.
Yeah, everybody's just coming to actually assist us to manage the incident.
Is there a motion to approve and accept the Chester County Police Chiefs Association mutual aid plan and the agreement?
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathleen. Any other council discussion? Any public comment, please? None. All those in favor? Carrie, could I trouble you to grab a microphone? There's folks that are online.
I think she asked, one of the caveats that I put in there is if you could authorize me as the signer as well.
Forgive me. Thank you very much. Is that included within the motion?
Yes.
Thank you. Kathleen, is that all right within the motion?
Yes.
Thanks for the clarification. Unless there's no other public comment, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Chief. Go for it. It's unanimous. Next is the Civil Service Commission.
So what I've put forth is a request if you would charge the Civil Service Commission again to conduct entry-level testing process. We've expired our list of the viable candidates that were on there. So we are asking that you charge Civil Service to begin that process once again.
Council discussion? Please, Kathleen.
I think we've done this already and it's expired, so we didn't find it, but we're just going to find another.
Yes, this is just to create a new certified list of candidates that are ready. It's not authorizing a position, hiring anybody. It's just creating a list.
Necessary.
This is more of an administrative issue than anything. Is there a motion to request the Civil Service Commission conduct an entry-level officer exam?
I'll move to for that.
Thank you very much. Is there a second? Any other council discussion? Any brief public comment? Could I ask you to grab the microphone, please?
Create a list. What is it?
Well, it's both. You need to go through the examination process to create a certified list.
Now,
So you have a
if
written
it's-
examination, you have a physical examination, you have a background process, all to bring that information back
So
to
you
Civil
want them all
Service.
certified when you get them.
Pardon me?
You want them all certified when you get them. You don't want them to be applicants non-certified because we heard that before too up here.
Well, that's the process that we have to follow. So we can't hire somebody
Civil
outside of it.
Service, but we also were going to take people who didn't have proper training and do something with them at one point.
Oh, so that was, yes, that was in chief. You done, ma'am? Can I speak for a sec? That was actually a change in the civil service guidelines to allow people that aren't certified that we could hire them, but send them through a certification course.
That's correct. That's what I know. That's why I'm asking for clarification because we're doing two. Now, why are we usurping responsibility where the state police come in? Because we
I
got
don't
them.
think I understand what you're
When you get
saying,
an
Charlie.
emergency, you were saying you need to have this big pact between the Chester County Police Chiefs. I would feel better if it was emergency, if the state boys came in. Because then you're too invested in one another. And if it's a true emergency, then we can include some chaos if you don't have a fix on community and know who the community people are. You will understand that. Chaos. When you have chaos, are you just saying when you go to a funeral, you need this?
I think you've lost me. Are you talking about the civil service? Or are you talking about the CPA
The
agreement?
fact that you need to go into the county agreement. Yes, correct, the county
Oh,
agreement. Well, I
Okay,
don't
that's
want you
something
lost.
completely
Let me
different.
clarify. I don't want you lost. You said that this Chester County Police Chief Association is coming together in a cooperative way.
No,
So
that
when you
was,
have-
pardon me, that was the last topic. This is to hire a replacement officer.
Understand that. I'm getting clarification on both because you did both.
We're done with the last one.
Yeah, but you didn't have citizen comments after that.
We did.
Well, I'm not done.
Well,
If you want clarification on this, this is police business that has to do with directing us citizens. I don't understand why we're usurping your state police responsibility.
we're
I don't
not.
think
This
we're
has
saying
to do
anything
with
about
hiring.
usurping their responsibilities or their assistance.
I hear you, but I don't understand why you're gonna call your brothers from some other place that I feel will not be as competent as the state police in a true emergency.
So Ms.
You'll
Watson,
have too
we
much
work
info-
with the state police on a regular basis. I
know
don't
what I'm
think
hearing.
I understand where you're going with that.
Now, why you don't understand it, you don't want to.
I don't think it
understand
has
why you
anything to
have
do with me
have
not wanting to.
I don't understand why you have to have blue blood as your backup in emergency
Because they're
we
the only
already
ones that are certified to,
when we already have the state police to call in. Why we have to have all these particular contracts?
Is there any other public comment? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, Chief. And next is the question of accreditation going for a grant in the amount of $136,000 from the U.S. Department of Justice for accreditation support.
so this is the same grant that we actually filed for last year. There were no entities in Pennsylvania that were awarded the grant. So we're asking council permission to go ahead and file for the grant again. The number actually is slightly higher. We're working with our budget management company over at GMS Funding, and we're looking at essentially about $140,000 will be the request this year.
Chief, is there any financial impact on the borough?
No, there's no match to this amount, anything. This would be 100% funded by the federal match.
And if the department becomes accredited, what are the key benefits to the community?
So I think a lot of the benefits are the transparency, the professional aspect of the department, a certified accounting from an outside entity that we're following the best practices, the best standards, the best policies, and we're providing proof of this on a regular basis throughout the year. And there is an insurance reduction benefit as well.
Thank you. Council comment, discussion? Mr. Mayor?
And it's been our goal to become an accredited department. We couldn't do it in the old facility because the facility in of itself was not accreditable. So this is the next logical step and certainly an important one.
Is there a council motion to support the chief in the application for $140,000 grant to the U.S. Department of Justice?
So moved.
Thank you. Ellie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. Any other council discussion? Any brief public comment? Please.
Troy Thompson, 612 D Street. This is just a clarification. It says GMS fund, consultants from GMS funding. Who is that and who do they report to? And so
So that's the company, maybe Kyle could even answer this better. That's the company that's been working with the borough for 2 years now, trying to seek as many grants as possible.
okay, and who pays for that? Is that paid for by the borough?
Borough.
Okay. All right, and that reports up to your side?
That's right.
Okay.
And just to clarify, they also provide admin for the grants once we get them.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Any other public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much, Chief. Rob, it looks like you're up. Let's talk about the 2025 Municipal Cooperative of Southern Chester County fuel bid.
The Southern Chester County Co-op put out the bid package for the fuel, and it was the low bidder was Dixieland Fuel again, and it's just to approve the bid.
Council comment?
Questions? So, is that usually who we work with?
That's usually the ones that we deal with.
Okay. So we've have a history with them and we're
Yes.
happy.
Looks like most of the local municipalities are involved. Am I correct that the winning bid was 38 cents a gallon of gas?
No.
No?
No, it's 38 cents above the market.
Above the market.
Yeah.
Why would we do that?
Well, it's what wholesale is. So they take I forget what they call it, but basically what they're selling as wholesale.
Okay,
Fuel.
not 38 cents above 76 if we go.
Right, right.
Because we wanted in on that contract.
No, it's, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Well, is there a motion to approve the acceptance of the 2025 Municipal Cooperative of Southern Chester County fuel bid?
I'll move to accept the bid.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sam. Any other council discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much, Rob. And now let's talk about administration under the consent letter of intent. This is probably the meat of the meeting that a lot of folks have come for. The borough has owned this property for just about 4 years, just under 4 years now. The intent was very much to try to keep the property as a community facing venue. There's been a lot of discussions that a lot of you know over the years about the value of the property, the cost of the property. The council went back and said, hey, we'd love to keep it as a community facing property that benefits, as many folks in the community as opposed to just being for the highest dollar of rent. Some have agreed with that, some have disagreed with that, but that's the will of the majority of the council. We've been working to try to get that done, and we've got a couple of opportunities tonight to get closer to have that happening. Kyle, could I ask you to kick us off, please?
Sure. The first opportunity here tonight comes from CAX. The thing we're looking for support here tonight is consensus from council that CAX is the user that we want to take up a really significant portion of this main building, to base the value of that on appraisals and what a reasonable, fair rate is, and to move forward with the condoing process in order to facilitate that. I think as a general comment, this is a really positive step along with these others that it shows we're moving towards full occupancy here. And to Council President Norris's point, I think this is the vision that we had when the building was purchased. And I don't know, Mayor, you may have some comments on that.
I just want to be clear in case it wasn't. The intent is to condominiumize the building, which we've been talking about from day one, and sell the remnant space so that we can recoup the initial, as close to the initial investment that we made in the building. So these are not leases. These are acquisitions, which would allow us to be joint owners, joint partners on this facility with joint shared maintenance agreements on the structure and the shared space. And what I'm excited most about tonight is, depending on which ones council decides to go with, will get us to 100% occupancy of the property for this building, for the 2 outbuildings. So it gets us to what our goal has been. After the borough acquired the building, of course, COVID hit with the downturn in the need for commercial office space. Significantly went down with folks working more from home, and the value went down for commercial leases. And so our highest and best use really is the ability to sell it at market rate for these specific uses, for these different things. So I'm very excited. The potential partners, then they're all here tonight, are going to talk. Really, I think are great compliments. And it gets the borough to a place where we will only own and have paid for the space that we're occupying, and will offset debt with the sale of those pieces and the ability to retain the right to use the parking and collaborate together. And then long-term, the extensive maintenance things that come up over time will be divided up proportionally across the building. And these are some really, really good partners, depending on how the configuration goes. Thanks.
Other council comment? Let me just reiterate, so there's no confusion. The motion tonight is whether to move forward on these projects, these tenants, these co-users of this space. It's not a done deal by any stretch. It's not a contract. It's whether or not the council, the town, wants to move forward in this direction. With that, is there a motion to move forward in discussions with CACs to have them occupy a significant portion of this main building at 600 South Broad Street and move forward with the condoing process.
So moved.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thank you, Timothy. Council comment discussion, please. We'd love to hear, it's a big move for the borough. It's a majority of the space in this building, potentially. We'd love to hear public comment, please. John, you were first. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah,
John Thomas, 406 South Broad Street.
excuse me one second, John. I think what Matt's saying is that maybe if there's a representative from CACs who would like to, which I think is a great idea, forgive me. Yeah,
I
is it
think we missed
okay?
More context on their.
Is it okay, John, if I ask CACs to come up first if they'd like to? Thank you very much. My mistake. Carrie, are you representing CACs tonight? All right. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
I mean, I can be over here.
Thanks, Carrie.
I'm very interested in answering any questions that the public might have, but this is it has been a dream for CACs to get out of our current facility, which is woefully it's too small for us. We've suffered floods, we've suffered fires. I'm waiting for locusts to descend. We really have to have a new future home. The borough came to us with this suggestion even after we had gotten land donated out on Cypress. But this is such an ideal site for us that we would welcome working through partnering with you on a condo type deal. And we want to purchase 2,600 square feet, which would be basically the first and second floor.
26,000,
What did I say?
2,600,
Oh, yeah.
26,000.
I'm so sorry. But we would absolutely welcome coming into this facility. It's center of town for us, center of the majority of our clientele that come to us with needs throughout the year. And we're extremely interested in pursuing this. So I hope that you would grant the letter of intent, which is all it is at this point. There's a lot of negotiation to ensue.
Could you explain the use maybe a little bit more of what you plan to do with the building once you guys get in there, just so the public knows what CACs kind of does?
So we have 4 major programs. The largest program for sure is our food cupboard. Right now, we are working in very small quarters. We have over 6,000 participants that come to CACs every year for variety of help, large amount of that food distribution to them. Our other programs, which we would be bringing our full facility over here. So the largest program would be the food cupboard, and would get a warehouse here included in that. So we'd be able to do the cold storage that we need, that we can't do where we are right now. I mean, we could have much more food coming in if we had a place to cold storage it. Our other 3 programs are we do emergency services for people that need help with rent to stay housed, pay utilities, that sort of thing. So we have caseworkers working with families that have needs that come up. We have a housing initiative that we're trying to keep people housed. And we all know that housing is a major issue because most families are priced out of it in this area. So we work on that. And we also have a educational component where we're trying to lift people out of poverty so they can take classes on getting ahead and staying ahead, and also financial empowerment and learning about how to handle finances. So we have a wonderful number of programs, and this move and purchase would allow us to super expand our food program and would also be bringing our administration over also.
Thank you, Carrie. Are you okay taking some questions? Hold that mic if you would.
Make a comment?
Yeah, please, Nick.
Public comments. First of all, I wanted to make sure the public knows I'm a donor to CACS. I'm not involved in the board at all. And I've discussed with our legal counsel, I can vote in that position. I just give them a check with no strings attached. When I got on council, this was one of the issues I was most interested in. So I was appointed to council in February of last year. And we've had several meetings. Obviously, this is an important topic for the council. And we kind of coalesced around this idea that the building should be a public facing space. We have wonderful events that are happening. We've approved a couple tonight that are happening on the physical space. And that we wanted the building space to also be some kind of public facing thing. And I'm super excited about CACS being that kind of anchor tenant. When you think about it, we have a police station. We're not going to move the police station. It's beautiful and Chief doesn't want us to move the police station. What makes sense to have near the police station? I hope that CACS would like to be located near the code enforcement office, other things that people need to interface with the borough, they can also interface with CACS. So to me, this seems like just the most compatible. There's lots of details for us to work through. We have to make sure it works for CACS and we have to make sure it works financially for the borough. But I am incredibly enthusiastic about let's jump in and work through those details. The other thing I wanted to mention, Bob, was that since this isn't completed, you can say your opinions on it tonight, but also you can send an email to the borough council or, as you have thoughts or concerns or something dawns on you on Thursday, like, oh, what about this? Please give us that feedback because we're going to need that as we work through these details.
Well said. Thank you. Any other council comment? May I ask for any public comment? Nick, do you mind giving the microphone to John? He was up first. My apologies, John. Thank you.
First of all, I'm totally opposed selling this building at this time. For this purpose even, I wouldn't mind them coming in with the rent, with a right of first refusal down the road, but I think they can tie us up somehow. We might regret down the road. Let's see how they work out before we let them buy it, because we're stuck with what's there. We are stuck with what's there. If they're good, fine. Then we'll sell it to them later. Give them a right of first refusal. See what comes out. See how they do, and see how they like it. See how we like it. You don't just sell them something like this. I mean, this building. What are you going to sell them the other outbuildings too? Everything. I think it's wrong. We still got it listed. We got to pay the commission on this.
Yes, that's right. Our
That's
brokers.
stupid. I told you that. I told you that when you listed it.
Please hold the accusation. Let's try to keep it civil.
Well, I told the man, and I'm going to tell you, I told him to list 3 or 4 things that we already knew and say, all right, if these buy it, you don't get a commission. Anything else, you get a commission.
You have every right. I'm just saying, let's stop the name calling. That's all. But please go ahead.
It's costing me money. It's costing the borough money for stupidity. And I tell you, if you're going to write a contract, I would be pleased to read it before you signed it.
Any other
Because
public
you guys don't write very good contracts.
Troy, do you mind grabbing the microphone? I
Yeah.
should have asked name and your address, please, just for the record.
Troy Thompson, 612 D Street. I've been fortunate enough to be a volunteer there since October. So I'm in the shuffle when we bring in the trucks on Friday. I'm one of the truck drivers. I drive the box trucks as a volunteer. I will say we have space at Manfredi's that we're trying to store, and we're playing shuttle between those 2 locations. It's a horrible thing. Giving an example, 900 pounds of turkey donated by Costco. Immediately, we had to go and pick it up, run it back, figure out what we throw out, what we keep in the freezer. As far as who we service, we also service seniors. And so these are people that cannot get out. My phone, I'm on a group chat. Anybody that's going to do a donation, all the truck drivers, head over there, rush it out, and then figure out what are we going to do with it when we get it in. We go as far as Philadelphia, all the way out to Oxford and so forth. So I would also say students, they come in as volunteers. This is part of their community activity. They break bulk stuff into smaller stuff. We have no tables for them to do that. We take big things of oatmeal, break them into little bags. And some of these people have mental challenges, but this is giving them a purpose. So I support it 100%. Thank you.
Thanks. And thanks for volunteering. Peter?
Thanks. Peter Doring, property owner, 315 East Linden, and two others. So I'm just here to offer my support for CACS. My daughter volunteers there, has for the last 2 years. You might have seen her careening around town on our funky three-wheel bicycle, either with myself or one of her aides. For anybody who has questions about the value of this, I encourage you to go to the CACS website and read up about all the work that they do. You know that I'm pretty critical about any organization I'm involved with. I ask lots of tough questions, and CACS, for me, there's no doubt that they leverage their impact. Their impact is second to none compared to any other nonprofit. They're excellent at pulling in volunteers from the community, pulling in donations from the community. When you look at their structure in terms of how they pay their administrative staff, it's very small compared to the value of what goes out the door. I've never seen that kind of ratio before. As you move forward with this, I do hope you do this, I encourage you to kind of think a little bit outside of the box of the other ways that this might be supported. Kennett Township, when it reviewed the proposed site on Cypress Street, actually ended up waiving, I believe, more than $70,000 in some of the permitting fees as a way of supporting CAC. So any way that you can be creative that way would be wonderful. And I hope this kickstarts a conversation here in the community that we as a community get behind CACs, the businesses. Let's make this the thing that Kennett does. We want Kennett to be known for its support of people who are in need. And lastly, I think you all recognize that you've taken a lot of heat for the purchase of this building. I think it would be a great way to demonstrate your vision by moving ahead with this and with as much flexibility as you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Other public comment? Charlotte and then Gabby?
Charlotte Watson, 523 Magnolia Street. I have no problem with CACs. I wanted you to have the outbuildings though. But there's a lot of other factors that we are involved with here that people, because they like CACs, are overlooking what we've been arguing about for the past more than 4 years when we bought this building. We have a considerable amount of debt. I don't know if anybody knows that. And we're not meeting it. We had to worry. One month, I heard Mr. Norris said, is Genesis going to pay us on time for the garage, the parking spaces? Because he wanted to make sure we could meet the debt of the bond. This is tight stuff. This is serious stuff. This is no kids play. This building is in debt. So you have to compare the usage versus the amount of money, and this is going to profit the public because you have not been doing that. And COVID had nothing to do with buying this building and being in debt. And we're millions of dollars in debt. And I have also counted up since I've been here over $20 million in debt for this borough. That's the minimal. Between the police station is this, we're overbuilding, we're overusing, and we say we need it and we don't. We're 1 square mile. It's nothing to police a postage stamp. Okay, because that's who we are. And we had good and great services here. And the only feedback I've been getting from people in the public from here to Malvern to wherever, Kennett is being messed up. Now that's what I'm getting. Now, how much is this going to pay towards that debt we have? And the other thing, I don't think you public officials should be mixing our governmental business into the fact with private entity and then say you're going to be the realtor and that sort of thing. We're not in the realty business. We're in tax dollars being collected, providing goods and services to the citizens, and we're looking shabby on that. We're not giving the citizens nothing here. And every time I come here, and I've been coming here for over 40 years, and these last 15 to 20 is pipe dreams. A $36,000 desk. $53,000 school tax you didn't anticipate for a building that wasn't full, and you went over and begged for a reduction to get it down to 53. Now, how much can these people pay towards 20-some thousand million dollars of debt? You need real business in here. You said December of 2024 you were selling it. You made that statement here. And now we hear we're back to pipe dreams. I have no problem with you being in outbuildings. Never did. When they refused you. Okay? If it was you, I don't know if it was you, but they refused it. We thought the outbuildings would be fine for cats. Because I do think, excuse me, I'm just saying you were refused before. Okay? Right here. And we were for it. You weren't here. It did happen, Julie. Okay?
Thank you.
Can't dispute me. You can try all you want. Excuse me, babe. Sorry, because you're still answering questions.
Gabby,
But
would you mind
talk.
coming up to the mic? Carrie, are the outbuildings large enough? Are the outbuildings large enough?
No. And we also have no interest in leasing. We need a forever home, so we're going to purchase it via a bid process. But we need to purchase wherever we land.
Yeah, Gabby? Hold on, please. Gabby?
Gabby.
Hold on,
Ratcliffe.
please. Gabby?
Thank you. 234 East Linden Street. This might not be a fair question, and if the answer is we haven't done. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it not on? Okay. But I think maybe just to help people kind of wrap their mind around the impact for your organization, do you have any kind of ballpark rough estimate numbers of like how much money you'd be saving remodeling the existing building as opposed to a capital campaign? Because I know capital campaigns are so much more costly than what a renovation would. I think maybe some people would help understand the cost benefit analysis going on at CACS, looking at this instead of the property.
Yes, so when we had a wonderful Pia family donate that land to us on Cypress, where we were originally going to build our forever home, we were looking at a $17 million capital campaign, which is a major hill to climb in today's world. So when we learned of this opportunity, it is so much cheaper to purchase a already constructed building and to do renovation. So I don't have numbers for you on what the negotiated amount will be for our purchasing 26,000 square feet of this building. And the condominium style agreement is going to take months and months to work out. But we will be spending significantly less than 17 million to build a brand new facility to meet our needs. We also will be putting, I imagine, several million into renovating, so we get exactly what we need for our forever home.
But still like a fraction of the cost of the.
Fraction of the cost.
May I ask one more question?
Sure.
And again, I'm not holding you to any figures, but just so people have an idea, do you track data on who walks to CACS to receive any of the services, any of the four? Because I also think, and this is my personal opinion, not the organization that I'm wearing a t-shirt for, but I would have concern with people walking on that part of one to get to your building if they needed to. And I don't know if transportation is a need in your client base, but if something's walkable and 40% or 20% of your clients live in the borough and would, could walk it or access your services more easily with a walkable, I just wondered if you had any kind of support for a decision here versus in the new location that way. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling. Okay, thank you.
I actually do not have that data. We have, we do have walkers, but they are not by far the vast majority of the people coming are coming in cars to pick up their food and shop for it. So that's a good point. A year from now, I'll be able to tell you exactly what the percentage is. That's okay.
Daniel or Kathy, did you have your hand up? Please, go ahead.
Hi, Daniel Embry with Kennett Collaborative. So as you alluded to, there's a lot of community use of this space through events, maybe 20 events this year, approximately, not just by Kennett Collaborative, but by a lot of community organizations, Casa Guanajuato, and Clover Market, others. So as you're looking at the condo rules, we hope that you'll be keeping that top of mind, and I know you will be. And we're looking forward to working with whoever is able to purchase to collaboratively on these events. We believe that CACS does really exemplify the goals and the way that this space is used. One of the events that is here that occurs for most of the year every week on Fridays is the Farmers Market, and the Farmers Market and CACS have been longtime partners and collaborators on a number of initiatives in the local food community. So we're excited for that opportunity to even deepen that partnership. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grove? Just if it's back up to the,
Yes, I'm here.
thank you.
Bill Grubb, 610 West Linden. Have you looked at any other properties?
Your name and address, please, for the record.
Bill Grubb, 610 West Linden. Have you looked at any other empty properties for your space requirements? Like the Rite Aid building down past the other monster on State Street?
No, because we had that land donated. So we went immediately to designing exactly what we needed in our future home. I did, however, when Big Lots cleared out and not the Rite Aid, that would be probably too small. But I did talk to the realtors for there just to find out square footage and what they were thinking, but that was definitely commercial. They had already found people to rent that.
Okay, no, no, the reason being is that there are additional properties that might have fitted your requirements because we're losing all kinds of companies and stores and large stores in the community right now.
Yes. And I appreciate your question, but boy, this location for us is just perfect. So I'm hoping that it comes to fruition and we are able to purchase and move here. Because I know we're an absolute benefit for Kennett Borough and also the surrounding area and the people in need. So.
All right, thank you.
Any other public comment, please?
I actually, Holly Peters, 109 South Broad Street, building owner. I have questions about the condo part. So I would ask if you could please expand on that because I think there's a general understanding amongst most folks of what a condo is. But in this scenario, does that mean things like obviously like maybe shared expense of common area spaces and and that type of thing, but what does it mean for additional entities coming into that scenario? Is there a board that everyone shares in the decision-making of, what other businesses or, organizations would be appropriate? How does that, could you please explain that to us?
I'll ask Kyle to step in. I mean, but the long-term answer to that is those are all of the many, many, many details that still have to be worked out in terms of how our common expenses, garbage, water, sewer, plowing, how are all those things divided up? Who pays what portion? If the other two buildings are sold off, who and how what's the association look like? What does the voting look like? What does the taxing look like? But the concept of condoing, Kyle, you've been closest to it.
No, I mean, it's good questions and you summarized it correctly. Condoing is basically a way to share a solid space without physically, without physically separating. So we're not into the details yet.
And there's a legal deed, Andy, that comes with that as well.
Correct. That's all things that great questions that'll all have to be considered if council decides to move down that process.
Okay. I guess, and to that point, I would just want to know that there would be transparency with the public and in terms of as that's being developed and how that takes shape.
You deserve that. I mean, there's certain things from a negotiating standpoint, and keep me in bounds here, Andy, that are typically covered under Sunshine Act permissible executive sessions like we had earlier this evening, that there are things from a negotiating standpoint you probably don't want to do in public. But once those decisions are made, they have to be made and announced in public. And certainly the agreement would be a public document as well when that final agreement is ready. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just add to that? As you think of issues, we are all on the council actively trying to make sure we think through everything. As you think of things, please tell us what your concerns are and we can incorporate them in the process.
I guess the first thing that came to my mind would be, so you get like an ideal tenant or excuse me, an ideal condo partner, and then there's more space. And then, how does that get decided? Like maybe that person or that entity doesn't approve of them. Like, how does that?
Yeah, we're going to work through
More
it,
so than like who pays the trash bill. I mean, that's.
But yeah, like what happens when a tenant decides to, or one of the partners decides
Decides
to
to
sell
sell.
and who can replace it? And
Yes.
yeah,
And who
that's
did-
on our list already, right, Bob? You were making a list.
Exactly.
And who decides? Is it council or borough that decides what kind of other condo prospects are ideal for the building? I mean, okay.
I just wanted to
But
point out.
but the
that
question was, who decides that, not what was decided? Like, is that a borough only topic?
I just wanted to point out the importance for doing the condo is to allow for ownership. And without ownership, it doesn't provide the other partners to be able to leverage that. We can get a mortgage for their facilities to qualify maybe for grants for improvements. And the idea of them renting for a period and then becoming a purchaser, nobody's going to invest millions of dollars in a space for improvements with the hope that someday they may be able to buy it. Right. So by condoing, and we've been talking about condoing this building from before we signed the agreement. Right. It was always the conversation that we would sell off parts of this building
Got it.
to bring the debt down. Right. So we looked at the total acquisition costs, and the reason we justified buying this space was that it would be cheaper than building new, which it was,
Right.
and then to sell off or enter into long-term leases, but whichever, so that we could bring the debt down. And any consideration on the negotiations with partners to buy condos is based on current market value and appraisals. Right. So, I mean, that's the point, is that we then look at our debt and whether we bring in 4 million, 5 million, whatever the numbers become, that all can go directly to reducing the bonds that we have in the building.
Understand. Thank
Just
you.
add a technical comment. You can always ask questions on this topic or any other by sending an email to help@kennettsq.org. And we'll also set up a dedicated form specifically for this topic. So look for that by the end of the week.
Thank you.
Other public comment, one or two? Eric? Council comment? I concur with certainly the majority of the board, if not everyone, that it can be a great partnership. And it's such a community-based use for some of our most vulnerable folks that need the help the most. And when you talk about what makes Kennett special, it's this kind of thing. And listen, we have a financial responsibility to every single one of us that are taxpayers. We can't deny that. We're not going to give it away, at least if it's, I believe, the majority of our decision. We've got to get that tax bill, that bond paid down. But it's a great partnership. It's the early discussions are very, very positive. It's community facing. For a population that is largely based in Kennett Square that can really use this kind of help. A lot of details to go, but I hope we can make this work. That's for sure. With that, unless there's any other council comment, there's a motion, a second, a lot of discussion. Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's get this done. Next topic for consideration is also another potential use of this building. It's items 15B, which is the winery and tasting business. So Kyle, give us the background. Is there a representative from the business here? And I'll ask you to come up and talk so we can do this better.
It may work better for them to sort of give the use, and then I can sort of get into it if you don't mind.
Absolutely. That's fine. Could we ask you to come up, please?
Can we explain which building specifically they're coming up for?
Yes, this is specifically for the annex building, which is the northern of the two.
Hi, everyone. My name is Virginia Mitchell. I have prepared a quite lengthy statement. So do you want me to go through just the use in general at this time? Okay.
Yeah. Quantify quite lengthy.
Probably not what you want to hear.
There you go.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Is that good?
Whole arm.
Okay. All right. Can everyone hear me? That's good. Okay. This intended use for the annex building is a winery production facility as well as a winery tasting room. I'd also like to use it as maybe small event space, just your normal, if you're visiting a winery, that sort of space. What was really interesting about this building is how it was sectioned off. So one side was very much like a factory production space, a lot of cement, high ceilings that I can fit tanks in and different processing equipment, as well as a garage door, which is very unique. And then on the left-hand side of when you enter it, I could envision it as a tasting room, public space that people can come and gather and enjoy some wine and other local products. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Heather.
Sure. I think it's Virginia's put together a quality proposal. I think it would fit in a lot of spaces here in the borough. Having said that, the council and continuing conversations with the community over the last couple of years have made clear a desire to have a community-facing organization and use. So for those reasons, I would recommend that we pass, but obviously still encourage and help Virginia to find the right spot.
Thanks, Kyle. Virginia, forgive me. I am not going to partake in this discussion. I have a tenant who has a similar sort of business that may be considered a conflict, so I'm not going to partake in this discussion or vote. With that, is there council comment?
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't think a winery fits the vision of what we're trying to accomplish in this complex. I do think it's a great addition to the borough, but I just don't know that it would make sense comparative to like everything that we're trying to do in the complex.
Other mayor council comment? Is there a motion to engage the winery similarly to have them as a tenant? Regina, I'm sorry, there's not a motion, so it won't be entertained further.
Thank you very much.
but good luck.
Proposal.
Next item up for consideration is another potential use of both of the outbuildings. Could I ask whoever's coming to present to do so? Angeline and Richard. Kyle, do you want to kick it off? Do you want Angeline and Richard to?
Let me start. We've appeared before council probably 3 or maybe 4 times. So I'm hoping that the general gist of converting the annex into a performing arts center is resonating, continues to resonate with council and the mayor. The two highest degrees of uncertainty that we had relating to operating this project here or locating this project here was, number one, we didn't know what the rest of the property was going to be used for. So there was a little bit of uncertainty who our neighbor was going to be, how the substantial property, the substantial part of this property would be utilized. Might have a bearing on how successful or not we were. The second part is the theater business itself is a pretty high risk business. I remind you that the two of us were some of the co-founders of the Uptown Performing Arts Center in Westchester. And I beg your patience because it took us 6 years there. So the fact that we're into year 3 in discussions with Borough Council, I apologize, but we're not dropping the ball. We're picking the ball up again because I'm so excited about possibly being located next to a community organization like CAX. That almost fits. If we had to design a neighbor, I can't think of anything that would be really better than that. So I'm turning this over to Angeline, who is much more articulate.
Let's go stand over there. I liked how we could see everybody over on this side. I'm going to read a 2 or 3 minute little statement. So thank you for having us. Angeline May, Richard May, living in Westchester and representing the Hub for Arts and Culture and the Kennett Flash tonight. So the vision is to transform the annex and the carriage house into a space with real community impact. We've been in conversation for nearly 3 years, and what we've been working out is how to bring the very successful model of the Uptown Canower Performing Arts Center in Westchester, where Richard and I were founders, here to Kennett Square. The role that we play in this is as catalyst. We have been working to empower the best and brightest mission-driven leaders in this community to develop this hub, because it's the leaders, the funders, the program partners, the local businesses, and the social sector allies here who can empower this new space to truly serve the people of Kennett Square. At Uptown, we learned that it takes 3 things. 1, a successful business model. It takes a strong financial model, and it truly takes a village. The Uptown idea was born in 2011, the building acquired in 2015. And now, fast forward 10 years, and the organization is thriving. It's beating budget, it's running a 15% surplus, yet 60% of arts organizations in Pennsylvania still haven't regained pre-pandemic attendance levels, and that is devastating. Nationally, nonprofits expect cuts of 50% as funding sources dry up. And yet in that environment, Uptown is thriving. And this is in great part because of its strong financial model. It is an investor-forward startup capital model that brings together invested capital, contributed capital, grants, and traditional financing. And together, this means that there's a measure of stability that most startups don't get. When 4 out of 5 startups fail, this offers financial stability in both the short term and the long term. Now, in this recently changed economic environment, it's ideal to be able to use the building as collateral. And in our worst case scenario, which we're thinking about, it could be sold in as broad a possible use to recap that investment. At the same time, we are committed stewards of Kennett Square, and we would want that sale to be a use that continues to support the betterment of the community. That worst case scenario is not at all what we expect. What we expect and have confidence in is the proven Uptown business model and the financing model. So tonight, we ask Borough Council to please continue to work with us to develop an agreement of sale for the the Hub for Arts and Culture to purchase and renovate the annex and the carriage house so that we all can co-create a vibrant, sustainable hub for arts, culture, and education, and one that works alongside the incredible efforts that the Kennett Area Community Service Organization has made to really create a real space for community impact here.
Thank you, Kyle.
Sure. Not to be repetitive, but the vision here for this building is a community serving, community facing, ideally nonprofit owned series of users that helps us to deal with our finances, does so at a fair price to the users. And so this would seem to fit that model. So the recommendation here is that we continue down this path and try to gain more information. Like the previous discussion, we need more information. This is an early portion of that discussion.
Council comment?
Well, it's been a long 3 years of conversation and bringing the arts and entertainment arts community down to this area. So it's been an exciting prospect. So I'm glad you all back and that we continue talking.
In the handout you sent us, you had a long list of community partners. I'm a longtime member of CATS. And just tell us a little bit about how you plan to collaborate with partners. Like, there's all sorts of things on here that sound great, but how would you partner with these kind of community arts organizations?
So,
Do you mind if we put that slide up, Angeline?
oh, sure. Great. Please. We have a list of folks here who we are either in partnership discussions with, or who we would love to be collaborating and partnering with. When Uptown was founded, we had initially around 10 different community companies, the arts organizations called companies, who came in and delivered specific types of programming. And so that similar model is one we would engage here. So you can imagine that there are a kind of infinite number of types of mediums of entertainment that could be incorporated, but it doesn't limit itself to simply arts, the kind of things that you typically think of. You know, you can expand this into spaces of community and cultural interest, as well as programs from an educational standpoint that can serve as business development or professional development. It's kind of amazing the degree to which the arts and culture really do permeate across sort of all aspects of life. So we're looking at how can we most diversely engage with partners that exist here already, but also where are there gaps? And so what organizations or styles do we go out and recruit for and bring in to fill those gaps? Richard, did I miss anything?
I would only say the model calls for the community to be owning the buildings. In Westchester, it took 7 years, but it was a pandemic in the middle. It was a 5-year plan because there is an LLC involved in it that has to be funneling tax credits to the investors. And at the end of 7 years, the nonprofit that was created and operating the theater acquired the theater so that the vision was succeeded in that period of time. We're using the same model here, and whatever restrictions the borough wants to put on that transfer, we're willing to talk about. But I want to mention one other thing. Whereas CACS can take care of the food and shelter needs of this community, I think probably what the hub can do is take care of the nourishment of the souls of the people in Chester County.
I just wanted to clarify, you're not actively partnering with any of the, this is just a list of potential partners.
It is with the exception of the Kennett Flash has
Okay.
been our partnering sponsor of all of our proposals to you. And from
These
the
are just
start,
Other organizations that you'd like to invite.
that's
into
right.
the
Yeah,
discussion.
ongoing conversations.
Great.
Yeah.
I'd certainly just like to echo Kathleen's comments that it's been a long process, but I look forward to continuing to carry the baton forward.
Is there a motion to move forward in discussions with the Hub for Arts and Culture to have them occupy the annex and carriage house buildings for the purposes of education, arts, and culture, and move towards a condo process?
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second? Thank you. Other council comment? If you guys don't mind staying there, we'd love to hear some, okay, please go ahead and we'll have public comment. Nick, could you mind bringing the mic to John, please?
So while we're waiting to get the mic to John, one of the things that I am concerned about is that the parking lot space has become incredibly active for outdoor festivals. And in a lot of ways, having an indoor event space is really compatible with that. But are you comfortable with working with other community users to make sure we share that parking lot? It's kind of a precious resource.
Absolutely.
And your use would be mostly evening, or you think your parking needs would mostly be in the evening?
The majority
Evening and weekend.
evening and weekend.
Okay. That, yeah, we'll have to work. One of the things I would hope that staff can work through is if we have a weekend festival, there's some issues to work through, and you guys are willing to, I appreciate your flexibility.
Yeah, and you know, that long list of desired collaborators, you know, we really want to be collaborating and everybody seeing this space as a shared space. So to what degree can the spaces be made available to those organizations when they're having those festivals is something to
Which is
keep
mostly
looking
in
at.
the summer, so the theater season's usually in the fall, right? Fall, winter, so.
That's true.
Great, thank you. John?
Hold on one second. Is there a motion? Oh, already got the motion. Forgive me. Forgive me. I'm trying to keep things rolling here. John, forgive me. You're up.
Yeah, I am glad you're back. I've been a big advocate from the beginning. And Kyle knows I was for you the first time you come in here. I think the town needs something like this. I think if you're going to do a community area, we need this in this area. So I am a big advocate for you people, and I hope we can work it out, and I think we can. My only concern is that we don't give away the other side of the building. This parking lot over here. You got another whole row of buildings you could put up there. When we sell this, we sell the building only. We keep that part. We might want to put another 56,000 square foot if we get enough things. So, yeah, just the footprint of this building. And that's it, but I'm in your corner.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
You're getting your exercise.
I need up.
Thanks, Nick.
Hi, how are you? Michael Bertrando, 134 West State. I'm big, obviously, proponent for the arts, especially it's a theater, correct? So it's a performing arts theater shows and things like that. And then my one question is, I don't know, it's a nonprofit organization, and yeah, I didn't understand that part.
Yeah, the way Westchester worked, a nonprofit operated the theater and a for-profit owned the theater and leased it to the nonprofit. At the end of the 5-year period, as it turns out 7, because of the pandemic, the nonprofit bought the facility back from the profit.
Okay.
That was the plan the whole time, and that's the plan
Plan
here.
for this.
So a
as well.
nonprofit owns it at the end of
The 5 years. And is this one of the condo thing tenants as well? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Daniel Embry with Kennett Collaborative again. Thank you. Just we've had a few conversations, and I just wanted to ask a clarifying question. My understanding from kind of going through the supporting documents is that a huge kind of component of this is testing feasibility of the concept, and that if given the opportunity to purchase buildings, that there's a kind of a fallback of if the feasibility, if it was found not to be feasible, that maybe another use would be found. Does that feasibility plan still include a kind of large temporary tent theater structure that would occupy a portion of the lot?
Daniel, I think that's a great question. Thank you. We think that the ownership offsets the risk that we were at the original point unwilling to make without testing the concept. And while we might still ask to retain the right to put a tent up in between the two buildings, we don't have plans to put that large tent up on other parts of the lot. So the initial proof of concept stage, we're hoping is not necessary.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Matt, you had a comment?
Rachel, can you go back to the first slide in case folks didn't get to see the elevation rendering? Thanks. This is the one I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to point out that the borough, we did look at renovating that annex building for borough offices. We also looked at it with the Kennett School District as possible administrative space, and the significant amount of renovation and the cost specifically to make it ADA accessible far exceeded what we could justify in spending money on. We tried to figure out if that would be, could the borough move out there and even rent more space inside? We looked at that. To get somebody to tackle that building is pretty significant. And I think one of the stumbling blocks all along for the last, because we've met multiple times, was that we couldn't make it work for them as a tenant. They really needed the ownership because there was no ability to mortgage. There was no ability to do the things that they need to do. They had to have ownership. So it came along side by side that if we condo those buildings and condo this space out in one master planned condominium with writing the condo docs the way that we want to, right? Obviously through collaboration, but control the parking lot for event space and things like that, that we can really make it a real win. But we tried and we couldn't get anywhere near certainly something that looks that nice, let alone justify the expense to try to make it ADA accessible. And they couldn't figure out how to justify to do it as a tenant without the ability to leverage the site as an owner. So I just wanted to point that out. And I'm thrilled that we were able to look at the potential to make you owners and do that. So thank you very much for sticking with us.
Any other public comment? Any council comment? There is a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We've got two big potential projects that could fill out this building, this property in a community sort of a way. Let's get going with all due speed. Kyle and team.
Bob,
Yep.
I just wanted to add a tremendous thanks to Kyle and the staff who have been working night and day to get these arrangements together. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ditto. Next topic is the consideration of whether or not to sell 115 North Broad Street, the former police station that's been vacant, I guess, since October-ish time, Chief. And there's an offer on the table. Kyle, do you want to kick us off and please?
Feel free. Yeah, explain the use and yep.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Charlie Gerbron from McRae Harvey here on behalf of my client STE Holdings LLC. Joseph Corrado Jr. Is my client's principal, is here, can answer any questions that I cannot. I think we all know what the property is we're talking about, the old police building up there across from the parking garage and the back of the parking lot of my office up there. The plan is pretty exciting. It's a very small, the space would be used for offices, brewing capabilities for what we are on the fence about whether it qualifies as what says under the ordinance, a nano brewery, or whether it would be a wine tasting room. Either way, the idea would be the same, that there would be brewing done on the site. The offices and headquarters would be there. There would be a very modest tasting room. And to distinguish itself from other sort of options, one of the entertainment options in there would be some golf simulators that they would have. The idea would be to have it be not a restaurant, so that people the patrons can go to the other restaurants that are in town and bring food into to the tasting room for that purpose, to enhance the things that are already there rather than detract from them. So that's the main idea for the use. We have discussed the fact that this would not be unlikely to be the kind of thing where it's open until 1:45 a.m. or anything like that. It's a very small space, tasting room area. I think we're thinking about a 10:30, 11 o'clock type, both in terms of that being the clientele and the neighborhood, what's appropriate for the neighborhood. So what we've discussed with the borough for the sake of the audience is a purchase price of $525,000, $25,000 deposit, due diligence period of 45 days. Part of my job would be to clarify with the zoning officer exactly what we're calling that use. My review, I feel with certainty that it's a by right use anyway, that no zoning, certainly no use variance or anything like that would be necessary. It's located in the C1 district where this type of use is by right. Closing date would be 15 days after due diligence. So if I'm looking and doing the math correctly, we'd have closing around August 5th and help the borough get rid of some of that debt. So I do have Mr. Corrado here. I'm happy to stand to the side, let anybody else come up here. But I think that if that gives a general outline for Borough Council about what we're trying to do and the financial terms about how we're trying to do it.
Thank you. Kyle, any follow-up?
Sure. Just as we talked about the intent of this building, this use would seem to fit the intent of our Main Street, State Street. It would encourage some more investment in that street. The recommendation for the council would be to allow for some more negotiation on the price and the terms. But as far as use, I think it's a good use, a complementary use for that area. If there are additional technical questions about the terms or the contract proposed, we do have our broker here, Neil, as well, to answer any questions.
Thank you. For the same reasons as earlier, because of a potential conflict of interest, I'm not going to participate in the discussion or vote. With that, council thoughts, comments?
I do have a couple of questions. I'm not sure whether for you or Mr. Corrado. Just generally, do you plan on using the building as is? Are there any, are you doing any tear down construction, not including fit out?
Sorry.
The upper portion of the building, we'd like to renovate it back to, it seems to be its original A-frame. It is about an 18-foot up ceiling, and kind of really gut that and redo the HVAC for it. And that's kind of the preliminary design on that we have done so far.
Okay.
The golf would be up on the front, and the potential brewing facility would be on that lower portion.
But all within the current footprint of the building as it is?
Yes, sir.
Now? Okay.
I just wanted to point out, with the last bid that came in, residents really expressed their concern about a 5-story high residential, the traffic impact and all those things. This seems like a really good use where parking can be done. There is on-site parking. There is also directly across the street from the garage, and an indoor sports facility seems to be a fantastic option for folks to bring folks into town and everything. So thanks for bringing the proposal.
I love this use. I think it's an a great feature. I think that we need more stuff in town. Like I like the mini pinball or mini bowling idea that the Creamery brought a couple weeks ago, or what was it, a month ago, I guess. So I personally think it's a great addition to the borough, as long as we can make the finances make sense.
Is there any guarantee or money back if your handicap doesn't go down? Okay, I'll retract that. I'm not supposed to ask questions. Sorry, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to engage STE Holdings LLC, the prospective buyer, to purchase the building based on the initial offer, asking our manager and solicitors to complete the agreement?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Would love to hear some public comment if there is any.
Just real quick, Bob. Kyle, do we know what the building was appraised for most recently?
We do. It was appraised for 640,000. It was budgeted at 500,000 internally, and this offers for 525.
Okay. Yeah, as along with council who's spoken, I like the idea. If it could possibly, and I don't want to kill the deal at all, but if it could possibly just come a little bit closer to the appraisal, then it would just be, for me personally, yes, absolutely. That's just kind of what I'm hoping for, having just heard, where all the numbers are.
John, you're up again.
Yeah, I am,
Just grab that mic a little closer. Thank you.
I'm all for this because I've been all over the country, been into these wine tasting places. And they're finally something in Canada besides a restaurant. We need a place like this. And are you ready to go, or Butch?
Yes, I'm nephew go and son.
Your Butch's? Okay, I definitely am a go.
That's a conflict,
I
John.
know Butch very well and his mom, and they're good people, and they got a good organization. So I'm all for you.
Any other public comment, please, Sandy? Thanks, Nick.
I think Sandy
Sandy.
D'Antonio, 220 North Broad Street. I do know the Corrados. I have to make that statement. However, I live on North Broad Street and I think it's great. Number one, I am not a golfer, but my nephew has a simulator in an outbuilding that he has, and it is utilized. Just want to mention that. And I think whether it's wine or brewing, it's great. I can just walk and not worry about driving.
Well, because I very interested in Linden Street, and that 5-story stuff wasn't flying. My question is, I've never been to presentations and not had any pictures. Everything we talk about here, we don't have anything to be able to see what you're talking about. And that's the way the presentations are supposed to go. And like I said before, the court stenographer's not here. Because we're talking about a whole bunch of deep stuff here. And we're just talking word of mouth. And that's bad. Don't have no problem.
Thank
with
you.
it. I don't have no problem with it.
Are there any other?
Okay, my
Are there-
thing is, because you have nothing here, are we talking about the building and the parking lot?
Yes.
Okay. Are you gonna be rooftop?
No.
Okay, that's the question for you. Because you would have a problem with the Corrados if it was rooftop. The noise that the other people made on the rooftop. I'm not quite clear how you're gonna mix these. It's an entertainment area as well as a wine tasting.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, there'll be separation between.
Okay, now how high is that roof going to go? Because I have a problem on heights.
The outside height will not change. It's the interior height that will
Okay,
be,
all right.
that will.
You're going to raise the ceiling and everything. Okay.
Yes.
Well done. Thank you. It fits better than that last suggestion. Oh, by the way, the money, you got to come better than that.
I fear you've been sticking up for the borough
We
here.
agree.
I expect that comment.
No, that's a prime
Go
location.
up.
That's a prime location. The heck with what the other stuff costs in the town. That's a prime location. It's right in the middle of it all, and you're gonna get everybody coming out of the garage and everything else. I don't hope you're not getting everything else in this town.
Thank you.
Thank
Troy, I think you had a question, if you don't mind coming up. Andy, is there a requirement to have a court stenographer at an event like this?
Not because they're doing it by right. So no, there's not.
Thank you.
Not
Troy?
for this hearing.
Thank you.
Troy
Troy?
Thompson, 612 D Street. This is just a general question because the last request to use one of the outbuildings was wine tasting. And this would be something more focused to you. I just did a quick chat GPT to see what the distance is mandatory from a school. And it also lists churches. So we got a church on Linden Street. And I assume this would involve a liquor license, correct? So have you made sure that that hurdle's not 300 feet from your corner of your lot?
I have not done that. It's a good question. Things with the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board are handled separately from typically from zoning perspective. So that'd be the kind of thing we would go through in our due diligence phase. We would certainly go through that. I'd also want to be a little bit clear that when I use the term wine tasting, it's really just because, as opposed to beer, it's because of the way the ordinance is written. And I'll just, not to bore anybody, but it says wine bar / BYO food means a commercial establishment that lacks a full kitchen, traditionally serves cheeses and desserts, and allows food to be brought in from other locations and consumed on site. Even the fact that wine is used is really a misnomer. It could be beer as well. So I just wanted to be clear about that, so it didn't seem like we're misrepresenting that it would be beer. In this case, everything else would be the same.
Thank you. Mr. Grubb.
Bill Grubb, 610 West Linden. Has your proposal been passed to the Historical Commission?
No,
Why not?
Well, because we don't own the property yet, and because there's not going to be any changes that I'm aware of to the outside. So the historical the HARB, I'm not aware would have any interest with the use because it's a by right use.
Well, they also have responsibility for the inside of the building too.
Just the outside.
No, inside too.
Just the outside.
But please go ahead.
I think we're still losing our focus here. I mean, we are a historical district and we're putting in all types of new things that really are distracting from the historical perspective of Kennett Square. I mean, we're bringing in another restaurant or facility, okay? We're bringing in all kinds of things with this building. I'm not saying they're not needed, but you're changing the perspective of Kennett Square being a historical district. What are you as a council member going to do to stop it and listen to the people in the borough to go back to the historical perspective?
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? There is any other council or mayor comments? Mr. Manager? Motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I abstain. Good luck. Let's go to them.
Thank you, Mr. Norris.
Charlie, I understand some congratulations on being named one of the best attorneys in Chester County.
I believe that was Kennett Square, to be fair.
I hope your scorecard is more honest than, sorry, item number 15E, the comprehensive plan update. Kyle, a little background.
Sure. So we've talked about that a lot here going back a few years now. The comprehensive plan, we talk a lot about different plans. This is sort of the mother of all plans. It's important and required by the county that you do this regularly. They suggest 10 every 10 years. We're at about 12 or 13. We started this process maybe 3 years ago with an objective to really grow our planning commission. Once we engaged the planning commission, our goal was to hire really strong staff that particularly have a background to be able to support this effort. Once we got both of those done, we went for a grant and were able to secure it to cover about half of this cost. So this is a really significant effort for us. On any other night, this would be the largest item. We went through the bidding process as is required by the Commonwealth. We received 6 strong proposals. Our staff, which includes me, our planning and zoning manager, Lexi Gams, as well as our planner on staff, Joe Nowak, reviewed these. We marked them up. We made comments, notes, based them on standardized rubric, made a recommendation of 1, 2, and 3. That was then taken to our planning commission, and they echoed or supported that same recommendation. So the request here tonight is for council to give a recommendation, ideally 1 through 3, and allow staff to then go back and negotiate contracts, ideally with number 1. If our budget doesn't allow it, then 2 or 3, and then to bring that back to council for a final approval. So grant funds for about half, budgeted funding for the rest, with support from our planning commission.
Thank you, Kyle. Council comment discussion. Kyle, did we speak personally to the key members of the team, meaning the project manager? I think it's Sean or Stephen McLean or any of the key folks?
We have not. So we received really substantial proposals from them. We spoke with at least some of the entities that have served as recommenders of them. There's a debate in the field, but there is an argument that's emerging that you can actually make more unbiased decisions if you don't enter and have a discussion in a one-on-one. You could be more objective using these documents. So that's what we chose to do.
They show a timeline of 18 months. Is that reasonable?
That is. These take a long time. They're purposefully thorough. So that's a reasonable timeline.
And how about the cost is $114,000? Is that within the ballpark of what you were shooting for?
That is. Yeah, we had budgeted at 110.
Do you know offhand what the range of costs were?
I don't remember offhand. They were roughly around 110. I don't know if you remember that offhand.
Like Lexi may have that.
I believe we had some just shy of 100, and then we had some ranging up to 150.
Thank you. Other council comment?
Kyle or Lexi, could you, so the recommended person is Baker, right? Can you talk a little bit about their community engagement strategy? So they're going to help us talk to the community about the plan.
Yes, so they all had a detailed scope in their proposal about community engagement. So that was one of our scoring rubric categories. So it was based on going to community events, such as like the farmers market third Thursday, talking to the community, seeing what they're looking for in the comp plan, along with coming to PC and borough council meetings to do presentations and get feedback from the community. Michael Baker was a strong contender in that category.
And do they have plans to do bilingual outreach?
Yes. So I believe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to quiz you on the proposal.
No,
I
you're
could
fine.
read it.
I'm trying to think. A lot of them had either someone bilingual on their team or a specific person designated to translate into bilingual community outreach materials. I believe they did have someone, if not their vice president. I could be mistaking the ones, but.
Is that something you guys can look into as you go through the negotiations?
Yeah, so that'll be required. Michael Baker was one of either 2 or 3 that specifically mentioned their intention to address that concern. So they had done clearly their research on our community to make sure they highlighted that. But we can make that a stipulation in the contract as well.
They also had a ton of local experience right here in Chester County, New Garden, a couple of projects with the county. I had seen Pat Bakovitz last week, and he said nothing but great things about them, really highly.
Oftentimes you get obviously you get a range when you get 6 proposals, but it ranges from a really national firm that has a lot of, they tend to have more academic expertise, which can be helpful. They tend to have less local experience. It then ranges to hyper local, which has less, it's a smaller team with less of the wider perspective. So we felt like this was a good mix of having both of them.
And just to add, Michael Baker was one that mentioned specific bilingual community events.
Thanks.
Is there a motion to approve and go forward with the recommendation of our planning department, our planning commission, to negotiate and clarify and move forward toward hiring Michael Baker International to help develop our Kennett Square 10-year or comprehensive plan, and if not, to work down that list of recommended companies?
So moved.
Thank you. Joel, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ellie. Any other council comment right now?
This did go through our planning commission, committee, and this was the recommend.
Thank you. We'd love to hear any questions or thoughts from anyone in the audience.
I don't know why. I think it's a gigantic waste of money. The only reason I say it is I've been around long enough when I've seen comprehensive plan. We never do anything with them. We spend all this money. We do maybe one thing out of 10 things, it's on the list. Use the previous list and figure out something on your own. You don't need an expert to pay $110,000 to tell you what to do. We're a town of 1 mile square. You can only do so much.
So it's a good point. I mean, a lot of times plans can be put on the shelf and not
Right.
used.
I got a couple of them in my house.
But what I will say is, for one, the last plan mentioned a library. It mentioned revitalizing the main street. So there were actionable things that came out of that we've now completed as a community. We as a community. So there was some action that came out of it that
Well,
led
I
to
say
good.
1 out of 10, if we do 1 out of 10.
I'm just saying that that's a really significant improvement to the community that was coming out of the last plan. Secondly, one of the things that stood out to us with Michael Baker is their focus on having implementable action items coming out of it. So that they specifically talked about that, and that's one of the things that stood out. So we're very aware of that risk, and we're dealing with that.
Daniel Embry, Kennett Collaborative. I just want to add, we're excited for this process, and we fully intend to make good use of the comprehensive plan. We've used the last comprehensive plan, and we find it useful to have community-driven strategic vision for the community that all of the many entities can then look to take cues for how to move forward. So, thanks.
Any other comment? Sibylla? There's a motion, unless there's any other discussion from council. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Lexi, Joe, Kyle, and team and planning commission. Let's get it rolling. The next item is the retroactive, because there was a timeline associated with that, Kennett Area Park Authority support letter. Kyle?
Yeah, this is you said it, a request for a letter of support. We had to sign it prior to the grant. If there was any issue with it, the council could always pull that back. That's how we treat these retroactive approvals. This is for Anseby Nixon trying to work on their Waterworks revitalization program, which if you know their organization, this is a huge next priority for them. Of note, which I appreciate, they put together a strategic plan of sorts about a decade ago, and they've been checking off each project going down the list, getting up to this really big effort. So this is a huge thing for them. So it's helpful to support them.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the letter of support for Kappa to Senator Fetterman, Honorable Dave McCormick, and Chrissy Houlihan.
I'll motion to approve.
There is, thank you, Julie. Is there a second? Was that Ellie? Forgive me. Julie, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Joel, second. We'll take that. Any other council discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Likewise, Kyle, the letter of support to the Pennsylvania Department of Community Economic Development, similar basic request for grant support letter on behalf of the same project. Again, this one going to Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. Is there a motion to approve this letter?
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second? Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen. Any council discussion? Mr. Mayor? Public comment? All those in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Couple more items. We're almost there. We are at 15H, which is to consider a letter of support for Chester Water Authority. Kyle.
Many of you may have heard about this, but Chester Water Authority is going through a process to determine their ownership, I guess, for lack of a better word. This is a request to provide support to their efforts to remain independent.
My only concern reading this letter is it's not specific to Kennett Square's it's not specific to Kennett Square's needs. It's assigned, it's going back to ourselves. It's community advocates, elected and appointed officials. I would ask the council to consider, is there a timeline to this?
It's not, it's as soon as possible.
I mean, certainly support the whole Chester Water Authority issue and not having it turn to a public company, a private company. But if we can table this, is the council opposed to tabling this to reconsider next month, and let's revise the letter so it's a bit more fitting? Is that all right?
What exactly are you looking to revise?
The letter. If you read it, it's very vague. It doesn't pertain. It's obviously a template that someone sent around saying.
I think the intent though is to have one common letter that each municipality then signs off on. Perhaps we could add some comments to add flavor to it, but or perhaps we could give authority to sign it and then come back next month with a supplemental support. Just to keep this, because they are in this active situation right now.
So there is a timeline to it.
Yes, but it's not tomorrow, but it may be sooner than next.
Okay. Okay.
It sounds like a united front kind
Fair
of.
enough.
I was thinking, I was asked to write a letter through the mayor's office specifically. If you have comments that you want me to add that are more custom, I'm happy to do that. I may be testifying for that hearing to keep Chester Water Authority independent. So I have been working with the state on this. So we could, if the borough wants to sign off on that, I could do an independent letter because I may be testifying anyway. So I'd be happy to help coordinate a more custom letter, but it is critical that they not be absorbed by, I mean, it's critical that not happen.
Certainly agree with that. I'm fine with that. So
That we sign the letter as written. Yeah, I agree.
is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
It passes. Joel, tell us,
Bob, you did kind of skip public comment there.
was there public comment on it?
Just in case.
You don't.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Joel, tell us about the bills.
Yes, sir. The bills were reviewed at the most recent Finance Committee meeting, as I stated earlier, and we recommended that they be paid in the amount of $1,173,946.04.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Joel, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. The borough minutes from the May 5th, 2025 meeting. Council, any comments, edits, suggestions? I had two questions. Kyle or Lexi, at the last meeting, we talked a lot about shade trees and one specific example, but the follow-up to that was a motion to start enforcing the replacement of numerous shade trees that are missing in town. Has that enforcement started, or what's the plan for that?
Yeah, the next step there is that they're doing an inventory of all of the trees and the condition of each of them across the borough, which is a really great public service to us. They're coding that in
Say?
sorry, our Shade Tree Committee. So they're doing that as volunteers, coded in GIS, which is map data, so we can layer that onto our other map data. To your point, the next step would be, once we know what the scale of this thing is, to start to try to budget and deal with it.
I think we also talked, though, about the empty spots right now where frankly, the owners are supposed to replace those trees, and potentially just asking people to kind of get back into that habit and filling those empty spots now. I know there's the bigger issue of all those shade trees, but at least to get some of those trees growing, especially during the season.
Yes, we can follow up on that.
Okay. And then my last question is, there was a comment made by Mr. Thompson at our last meeting related to R12, forgive me, tax exempt properties that should not be exempt from paying taxes, noting we have R10 residential houses, multiple LLCs in them. We just want to make sure that everyone is paying their fair share, I think was the issue. I know there was a request from our solicitor for Mr. Thomas. Were you able to give that list to our solicitor? Okay, it says Borough County, well, it says Borough County, sorry, Borough Solicitor Karate noted that if Mr. Thompson gives us his list, we can follow up with the school district and county to assess whether there should be challenges. If you don't mind sharing that list with our solicitor or through
Yeah,
Kyle.
I'd already talked to the school finance and school superintendent. So truly, this sits with Chester County Assessments.
Okay, okay.
And I haven't had my follow-up with them, but it's really, when we talked about the use case for people that are doing R10, so if you're doing like a bed and breakfast, that doesn't constitute a single-family residency. We also have situations where exempt properties are leasing out to for-profits. They shouldn't have exempt. We have a parking lot, dedicated use next to Liberty. That's an exempt property, collecting no taxes. Their initial opinion from their senior assessor was that that should be in the deeds and be getting assessed since 19, whenever it got approved. So it's really comprehensively looking at anything in the borough that has an exempt status, anything that has an R10 status. And again, I'd say probably 2/3 of our businesses in town do have their properties listed as commercial. But again, I don't think we've ever done a review or any enforcement on the other ones. So it's 1,525 properties, so it's a big file. I don't think I can email to you. So
Is the takeaway that the county is looking into this? Is there anything that you
I
think?
gave the county initial list to try to get it in for the June bills, and they were assigning it to a senior assessor, but that assessor was out for a week. And I
Okay.
didn't follow up yet this week with them.
Keep us posted if you would.
Yep.
That's certainly
And I think I shared some with you, Kyle.
Okay.
That list.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other council questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve the May 5th, 2025 minutes as presented?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Kathleen. Timothy, is there a second? Thank you so much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. One of our favorite portions of the show is some public comment. I'd love to hear what comments anyone has. Troy was up first. Fire away.
Appreciate abstaining from the vote. Again, this would come over to attorneys. I went out to Commonwealth of Pennsylvania State Ethics Commission. When you abstain, it states, if you're required to vote on a matter that would result in a conflict of interest, you must take a few actions. You must abstain, but before the vote taken, you must also publicly announce and disclose your conflict in a written memo filed with the person taking meeting minutes. We don't do that.
We don't do written, well, I'm sorry. Let me.
And again, I'm going by the Pennsylvania Ethics Commission.
The stance on that has been taken that because I'm just using you, as the example, Bob, stated on the fact of what the reason for the potential conflict is. That is usually noted in the minutes, and that's where the written
Okay.
comes from.
Doing so protects you by creating a clear record that you abstain in case the meeting minutes aren't completely clear. So again, this is straight off of the site. So I would
I hear you.
suggest we revisit that and have that actually incorporated into the minutes in a written form.
Council's direction.
Thank you. Any
We'll
other,
take a look at it, Troy. Absolutely.
any other public comment? Please.
Michael Carlino, 645 Linden Circle. Hey, I was just wondering about the parking ordinance, when the vote will be. I was under the assumption, did it
Monday.
happen Monday? Because I wasn't here Mondays. I was going to.
And passed.
Oh, and it passed. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Signs,
Excuse me, see?
just waiting. for the
Okay,
signs.
yep, no rush. Yes. Thank you. Bill told me you guys didn't vote on it. That was the problem.
Before I got sick, I was on Borough Council probably 27 years ago. 27 years ago. I missed 2 meetings in the last 25 years, except after I got sick. I'm probably the only councilman that ever followed up after they get off council. Most people just, oh, I did my job and that was it. But this is my town. This is not even your town. This is my town. And tonight I was insulted twice by Bob. And I know where I stand with you now, Bob, and I really didn't appreciate it.
It certainly wasn't intentional, John.
Well, it was very intentional.
No, it wasn't, but
You did it.
we can disagree.
When I talked about this National Historic Register, you won't give anybody an explanation of it. You don't call anybody and get an explanation. And then you screamed the vote insultingly at me twice when I brought it up.
I
And
feel like that was because you just
what was
insulted.
that?
You were calling people stupid. That's
No,
why.
no. This was the very beginning. And I called people stupid after I get insulted. I don't start that way. I don't start that way. And I'll tell you right now, I'd love you people to challenge your president more. I don't hear enough questions by you guys. You guys don't question anything. He's got 4 votes. All he needs is 4 votes. He controls you all. And that's fine. I mean, I don't blame him. God bless him if he can get away with it.
I don't think you're correct when you say control. Nobody controls me, just so you understand that.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I watched a lot, and I'll tell you, my body might be rotting away. My mind's not. And believe me, for 27 years, I've watched it all, and I've seen it all. When I tell you, you guys are all, you're all just puppets.
There's not one person in the world that controls me, not even you, sir. So don't get started on that. Okay.
Well, and I'm fine with that. If you-
Okay.
if you say
All right.
that,
Well, thank you. I appreciate
that's
that.
fine.
Let's move on.
Well,
Well, he's dismissive as well. Y'all are dismissive.
Just relax, lady.
Go ahead, John, if there's other comments.
Done.
Thank you. Are there, if Nick, if you don't mind grabbing the microphone, John, I sincerely apologize if you felt I insulted you. That was certainly not the intent. I mean that.
Sandy D'Antonio, 220 North Broad. First, I have a question, and I won't be 4 minutes, but I don't want this question to be my 4 minutes. On the hearing, June 6th, my neighbor was concerned they could not be here. Will it be mentioned that that lot, due to an administrative, according to Borough Council, error, the neighbors were never notified that that lot did not meet the requirements? Will that be stated at the hearing?
I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. I'm sure that if that is a procedural issue that needs to be mentioned, somebody is going to bring it up because it would be beneficial to them.
Well, who is somebody?
There's
That's
a,
what
Whichever party it is.
there's a different there's a
They
different
haven't
lawyer.
gotten a letter. The resident that's next door has not received any information, and they could not be here tonight.
I'm sorry, hold on, let me clarify because I want to make sure that I understand your question. When you say that notice wasn't given for the hearing, do you mean the hearing in Westchester on Friday? Or did
Yes.
you mean the hearing that took place originally?
Westchester.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was confused by your question. I don't know if they need to give notice for the common pleas hearing. I don't believe that they do, but I don't want to say that I know that for 100%. The notice I was talking about was the notice that needs to go out to the neighbors for the actual hearing that's held here.
Okay, well, the borough did not send any neighbors that letter, and nobody knew how large that pad was going to be, and that they wanted a building that tall and that wide. So who is going to represent the borough at that hearing? Or does no one go?
The zoning and hearing, the borough has a zoning and hearing attorney whose job is to represent the borough. It's not the same firm, it's a different firm whose job is, it's an independent, a group, so that's why they have their own.
The zoning board has their own solicitor.
Okay,
So their solicitor will be representing the zoning hearing board at the hearing on Friday.
okay, and the facts are there that neighbors were not notified originally? Are those facts listed? Is that Andy's job to do that? I mean,
No, it's a zoning hearing board. It's a different body.
okay,
Sorry.
But I will tell you this, Mike, Mr. Crotty, excuse me, I believe is going to go to the hearing on Friday, and I will relay the information that you've brought up tonight to him to make sure that at least somebody's made aware of it if it is an issue. I just don't know if it is an issue.
I appreciate that. And that way I can tell my neighbors. So that did take a long time, but okay. So I have a few things. One, the presentations Monday night, I can't say that they were all very interesting, but people did a good job. But I think they should be limited time-wise. It's my personal opinion. I think it was too long and your attention just kind of wanders. That's my personal opinion. So I don't know if we can do anything about that. It's really none of my business, but I just felt that some of it was too lengthy. On the 4-phase presentation, I do think that the idea that they said would not be expensive of trying to slow down the traffic coming into State Street with just paint markings, I think that's an excellent idea to slow down traffic. However, I don't know if they had their facts together when they talked about the borough lot behind the old library. I don't think there are as many spaces as they stated in that parking lot. So I think when they do a presentation, they should have their facts. Okay, so the parking lot that was mentioned earlier with the lease, I don't know when that lease can expire, but I think meters should be put there. All the businesses on that street should be able to utilize that lot. And I also, I don't know if it's true, heard that there are some parking spots that are leased to another business. So if they're not paying taxes, which they should be, I don't think they should be able to lease them out either. And I have nothing against the Bosley, so I don't, I just want my money to be put to good use. The other thing, in that plan, I don't know if there were any fire EMS people here, but I would like to hear their opinions on that. I think
plan?
that's important.
Which plan?
On the phase 1, 2, 3, 4, utilizing the alleys and whatnot. So I think it's important if there are changes that they're included.
Sandy, we're at time.
Pardon? At my time, the first one was a question. It wasn't. One other thing, I never go over my time.
Just so you guys know my process, when you start talking, I start it. When you get the answer to the question, I pause it and then I start it again.
Okay, well, just
So you've
the
been
next
talking for
meeting.
I just want people to know how it works.
Well-
You've been talking for 4 minutes.
One thing I need to know, is the meeting July 7th?
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing is, I just hope everybody took note of my complaint months ago about putting the podium here. Everybody
That's
does
right.
not want their back.
July 9th.
Correct. I'm sorry. It's July 9th is the meeting.
Oh, July
Yeah.
9th. Okay.
Are there any other
thank you.
public comments tonight?
And I'm sorry.
Thank you. July 9th, sorry.
Oh, Holly was going on.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering about the condo thing you were talking about. Why can't Genesis?
So I'm sorry. For the record, we need your name and
Oh,
and
Justin
address.
D'Antonio, 220 North Broad Street, Kennett Square. So anyway, why can't Genesis do the condo thing like you guys are proposing?
Do you mean at their buildings on?
Yeah, I mean, just saying they don't even want to rent out the bottom floor.
They could.
I know they could, but maybe somebody will light a fire or something with these people. I mean, you had that presentation where those flowers ran way past the parking lot, right up there to Genesis. And what good is it if the building's empty?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Any other comment? Holly?
Holly Peters, 109 South Broad Street. This is pertaining to the revitalization plan that's being discussed and coming up, now been moved to next month. When it was being discussed on Monday night, I believe it was Councilwoman Julie Hamilton, and she talked about the time that you folks have put into it, the 7 months or so, and that the goal of creating beauty was prevalent and an important piece of that. And those are two things that resonated with me because I've spent the last 35 years trying to create beauty in people's lives on the inside, not on the outside, but in houses.
And I have too. I'm a buyer actually by work. So that I actually make product for a living. What?
Go ahead, Holly.
Go ahead.
And so what resonated with me was that creating beauty and the 7 months. And what I want to say is that when I go into somebody's house, I don't go in and rip out everything in the room. I start with what's there and try to work what's there and build from that. Even if the person says, I want everything gone, we still have the confines of the room. So how does that pertain to this? We have things in place downtown that work and function, and they need functionality. And when I work with a client, I don't come in and tell them how it's going to be. I collaborate with them. I partnership with them. And I've heard that word a lot tonight about other things. So that's the way you create a unique space. You don't create a unique space by coming in and steamrolling over what's already working for people. You work with what's there and you build upon that. If you come in and steamroll over everything, then you don't have Kennett Square. You have every other little rubber stamp town in America. So while you're working on that, I ask that you consider that. I also ask that you consider the citizens' input and the merchants' input, and as stakeholders, as real stakeholders in this. Again, I will say that you missed an opportunity not to engage people with that and put any of those voices on your committee. And to that point, I would encourage council and borough to be working toward more transparent ways to convey these issues to people. People didn't know today until the very last minute that the meeting was changed. People didn't know last week by the notes, the newsletter that was sent out, that it was really about this. So you get a lot of clapback from folks because it sounds like really negative. It's because people aren't really in the loop and they don't feel like they're in a loop and their voice doesn't appear to matter. So I would ask council to really look at that, especially as they're considering the money that might be spent and how that might take place. Because that's a big project. It's not a small one. And I would also encourage you not to be afraid to go back to the drawing board and find somebody who really could do something for us that would resonate with people coming into town and the citizens and the merchants as well. And that could be possibly somebody that really knows their way around wayfinding signs, branding strategy, things that are low lift or whatever the verbiage is to not spend a lot of money, but get a lot of bang for the buck. And again, pulling in citizen and merchant input to garner some insight to that, because we are stakeholders too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Holly, and just to play off of that, I think it's important that we have been here, we have been listening to what everyone's saying and taking that all in. So continue to converse with us. We're putting we're putting a page on the website. Bring us your ideas, and hopefully we make sure we're engaging the merchants and citizens in the next phases.
Are there any other public comments? Yep.
Gabby Ratliff, 234 East Linden. So I just had a question, maybe a follow-up question or an observation in regards to the NVF redevelopment site. I thought after the town hall that they said that they would not just make the summary slides available, but some of the reports that they use, the economic impact study in particular. I know that the one slide is on their website, on your website, I apologize. I looked on their website and didn't see the report. I just saw a brochure. So I just wanted to follow up when we are, looking at that. And I think you guys are doing a lot of due diligence, but if we could make that available or maybe follow up and ask what they are willing to give, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Happy to do that. Thank you. Looks like there's no other comments. Kyle? Oh, I'm sorry.
Bill Grubb, 610 West Linden. How can I join the historical committee?
You can put, I don't know if there's any vacancies right now. Well, there's a historic architectural review board. Yeah. Yeah, there's a historical architectural review board whose job is to review plans and make advice to the council, advice, not a decision, regarding the frontage, the street facing portions of houses that are in the historic district. But you can certainly, anyone is welcomed and encouraged. We always need volunteers to submit a volunteer form online to Rachel and ask or recommend or put your preferences in terms of the committees you'd like to be part of. And every year the council goes through that to fill any vacancies. There's no vacancies on the HARB right now, but you're welcome to put your name on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
They're public meetings. They're the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30. Trying to think because I have a couple of meetings that
I'll
night.
look on the calendar. Thank you.
Did I miss anyone? Kyle, anything that needs to be shared?
Nothing to add.
Mr. Mayor?
Really quick, I know it's late. Just so you know, if you go onto the National Park Service website, which I did here a little bit ago, you can search for every property in the US that is on the historic registry, and you can download an Excel spreadsheet which shows every single property on the historical registry. It's all there online. None of the properties we discussed this evening are on the National Registry on there, but you can get every single property by county throughout the US in an Excel spreadsheet or by searching on there. So you can go in there and look ahead of time. Our HARB district is listed on the National Registry. The boundaries of the HARB are on there, and it clearly says on there that that it is delegated to the local HARB, that they do not have any. It says right on there the boundaries are there, and it says delegated to the borough.
Thank you for that.
If I may just piggyback off of that same subject, on the National Park Service website, it also states that under federal law, the listing of a property in the National Register places no restrictions on what a non-federal owner may do with their property, up to and including destruction unless the property is involved in a project that receives federal assistance. So even if they were listed, there are no rules to what you can do with that historic building as long as federal property or assistance is not involved. It's on
Thank-
the NPS website, Charlotte.
Right there.
Thank you. Any other council comment? Two things. Number one is a reminder that the July meeting, I know it's all in your calendars and pen, is actually Wednesday, July 9th at 7 PM. I asked the council to hold 6 o'clock in case we need executive session, but nothing is planned right now. One meeting in July, that's Wednesday, July 9th. I wish you a wonderful start to the summer season. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.
I second.
Can I get up?
We're taking your 7-second